Hi everyone, and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, your host, and today is Monday, December 8th, 2025. This is episode 419. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you're a new viewer, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do, click that like and subscribe button so you can be notified when I do my monthly updates. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you again for coming and spending some time with me, sharing in our makes and our general interest of the fiber arts here. Like I said, my name is Steve. If you're new, my partner Andy and myself own Leading Men Fiber Arts, an indie yarn dyeing company and craft store located in Clinton, Illinois, which is a small central Illinois town. And we have our own brick and mortar craft store and studio as well. And you can find us online at leadingmenfiberarts.com. So, I have some events from the past month, the month of November, to share with you, as well as showing you 3 finished objects today and sharing with you 3 works in progress, as well as talking to you about some new samples, new things in the shop, as well as what I've been watching and reading. We have our monthly auction to talk about, and of course our new colorway of the month. So let's jump right into what's been going on in the month of November. Some things that I wrote down of note. Leading Men did a trunk show at Village Yarn Company in Zionsville, Indiana. And we love going to Katie's shop. She has a warm, welcoming environment. And it had been about 1.5 years since we had done a trunk show at her store. And so we both were reaching out to each other going, hey, we miss each other. We should hang out and come do a trunk show. So we had a great day with Katie and those of you who came by and said hi. We greatly appreciate it. And then we also had our Bumblebee Acres trunk show here at our store. And that was the same day as our Advent mini skein swap. So we got to welcome Carissa and Sam and Sarah from Bumblebee Acres. And they came down for the day to showcase some of their yarns and their products, as well as see what our Advent mini skein swap was all about. We have a traditional annual mini skein swap usually in the later half of November, and it's a potluck and we swap minis. And for the month of December, we work on those projects during our Tuesday knit nights or craft nights, and it's a really good time. So we were really lucky to have those 3 wonderful ladies with us that day, and it was so great hanging out with them and seeing some of our good friends. And then this past weekend, we went down to St. Louis for a trunk show at YarnCom, and that is in Creve Course portion of St. Louis. And Heather and her team there are always so welcoming as well. We had 2 full days there. Friday was a long day because they have their late knit night on Fridays. So we were there from 11 to 8. We drove down Friday morning, and then we we're also there from 10 to 4 on Saturday, and we drove back on Saturday night. And then we had yesterday off, and I didn't do much of anything other than cross stitch and knit, and it was wonderful. So that's pretty much what's been going on over the last few weeks. Coming up this month, Andy and I are doing a short holiday getaway to Philadelphia. We've both never been there, and Andy's like, you know what? It sounds like an interesting city for... we like to do a bigger city sometimes. It's usually Chicago or St. Louis. We have done New York once over New Year's. But, to kind of take in a bigger city during the holidays when it's decorated and events are going on. And so he found relatively cheap flights, I think, to Philly. So we're going, leaving next Tuesday, and we come back next Saturday. And we're going to be visiting the art museum where I think those are where the Rocky Steps are. And Andy's really excited to see Van Gogh's Sunflowers. Since he did that as Lego, he was like, it'd be really cool to see it in person, and it's supposed to be there, I believe. And then we are also, he's talked about like getting a professional barber to do our hair and beards. and actually get it shaped proportionately, which is easier said than done. Yeah, there's supposed to be a big food market and of course a Christmas market. So we'll see what trouble we get up to in those 4 days in Philly. Hoping it's not going to be too terribly cold. I'm already over the cold here. We had over a foot of snow, I would say, last week. And so we've been dealing with that, and it's been cold enough that it's starting to melt a little bit today, but it's still all over the place. So, but yeah, we've got lots of things going on in the store, which I'll talk about later, but those are pretty much our upcoming plans that we're excited for. Of course, the holidays, we'll do a traditional Christmas morning with my mom, and then our own personal Christmas day. Not sure what we're going to get to Andy's family, but it should be relatively soon, hopefully. We have a lot of travel going on, so trying to find the time sometimes is challenging with, running everything here as well, which is a good problem to have. So anyway, let's jump right into what I've finished since we last talked. I have 3 finished objects for you today. The first one has been on the needles forever, so don't worry, you don't have to see it other than today. Today will be the final time that I'm going to show you Stole by Theresa Gaffey, knit using Isager yarns, Alpaca 2 in 9 different colors, and knit using a size 5 US 3.75 millimeter needle. Here it is in all of its glory. So you can see here, it started off with the gold, ran into the taupe, then the blue, orange, purple, green, brown, red, yellow. And it is quite large, but it is done. It was a simple knit. I blocked it just kind of on a blocking board. I didn't pin it or anything, but just let the simple large rib texture just kind of do its jam. But it is, definitely one you might want like a shawl pin to keep it on. It's not excessively long, but it's enough to definitely drape over and be warm and look fancy. So yeah, I am super excited to have this off the needles. I was really excited, since this was out of my personal stash, to then cast on something else out of my personal stash, which has been, rather large for a long time. I actually just did a clean out of my stash. I went through, I didn't go into depth with everything, but I put everything in those IKEA cubby basket things instead of just having them laying in the cubbies, because it was just so much and so much color. It was not good for me. I realized mentally I needed to take that stress off of my constant visual awareness. And so I did go through and put it all in there, and I got rid of anything that I was just like, you know what, I know I can part with this and not feel any sort of way. And so I have I shared a lot of that with our staff, and then we will also have whatever's left over as free to a good home, or people who are looking to learn to knit that might need that help with some of the some donated yarn. So yeah, that's really exciting to be done with that. I also then did finish both of the hats that I was knitting for my niece and nephew. So I finished first the Jacques Cousteau hat. This is by Lalla Pohjanpalo. Again, it's at the bottom of the screen there. I knit this using Leading Men Fiber Arts Dramaturg DK in the Windchill colorway, using a size 4 US 3.5 millimeter needle. This is at least the third, if not fourth one I've knit of these. We love these. Andy has one, and I have one as well. Now, I would say I do think there's 2 sizes, and I did the large or men's one. I do think that the length is a bit too long now that I'm wearing mine as well more regularly. And I do think I could actually probably go down to a slightly smaller size, even for men. So this is for our nephew. You know what? He's taller than I am now. This might fit him just perfectly fine. But he liked this color when he visited our studio last summer. And so I knew I wanted to knit this hat up for him. And then I also finished the Musselburgh by Ysolda Teague using Araucania Huasco Sock Prism paints in the colorway Hologram, which is number 3002. And I knit this using a size 3 US 3.25 millimeter needle. So I did the adult medium on this, I believe, followed the directions for that. My niece saw this colorway, the gray with the gray background, and really liked it and said something to her mom. So she asked me if I would make something for her. And I think it is a good size, actually. So with the Musselburgh here, and I'm looking down at camera so I can see what you're seeing a little bit better. But I do think that the Musselburgh is really nice because you do cast on from one end, like from the top, and you essentially knit a very long tube and close it up. So you're knitting almost two hats inside of them, and you stuff one inside the other, so it's double thick. I would love to do another one of these, and I've talked about it with our colorway of the month, using half a skein to knit like a multicolored and half to do a semi-solid, so that you would get, like, say this is multicolored, the brim would then be, because it's flipped up, would then be the coordinating color or semi-solid, and then you could reverse it and have semi-solid with a fun speckled brim, and you could choose. There's so many different options. Musselburgh is nothing new. But yeah, so I was really excited to get both of these done in plenty of time before I see them for whenever we see them next for the holidays and whatnot. So yeah, 3 things off the needles. I know, right? When it rains, it pours. So let's talk about works in progress. So my first work in progress you've seen for a while, it is close to being done. This is the So Basic Sweater DK by Maxim, and I'm using Leading Men Fiber Arts Targhee Twist in the red-handed colorway, knit on a size 3 and 5 US, which is a 3.25 and a 3.75 millimeter needle. And I'm getting there on the second sleeve, y'all. I'm getting there. I'm having to play yarn chicken. I have an additional skein pulled on my desk if I need it, but I'm gonna see how far I can get. I have tried it on and I think it's gonna fit beautifully. And there we are. So the first sleeve here is completely done. You can see where I had to alternate in that darker skein a little bit. It's showing up a lot more, I feel, on camera, but you can see where I've joined. I didn't alternate skeins on this sweater, which I am on another project you'll see. But so you can see some of the changes in skeins, and it is what it is. But that's where I'm at on the second sleeve. So I've just joined in not too long ago, probably like right here. Yeah, you can see it in there. I joined in the darker skein again. I did make note on my hashtags on my pattern of where I, started alternating with that one darker skein, because initially I was just using it in the collar here, and then the ribbing at the bottom, and of course at the cuff. This does use a tubular bind off and possibly a cast on. I don't remember from the cast on. It's been so many months, but it is a really nice finish for a 1x1 rib. I did have to do that at the bottom of the sleeve. Luckily, the sleeve stitches were nowhere near as many as the bottom of the body, so it did not take me 3 nights to do the tubular bind off on the sleeve like it did for the body. But all right, and then my next project, I had Andy randomly just pick something out of my stash to start, and he he comes back and he goes, I know it's a sweater's worth of yarn, but I've really liked this color for a long time. And I thought I had only had it for a few years. Turns out I've had it for like 6. Time flies. So I was like, all right, give me the motivation to start another sweater. So the yarn that he picked out, I had a sweater's lot of this. This yarn is Knitting Notions Classic Merino Superwash Sport in the golden olive colorway. It is a beautiful color, and I had 6 skeins of it. One of it did get kind of into a mess while it was being wound, so I have that if I need it, but I did buy more yardage than what I needed when I was heavier, and so I've lost weight, so I'm knitting a smaller size, and I think I'll be okay. So what am I knitting? I'm knitting the Santiaguino, we're gonna go with that, by Beatriz Rubio. Let me pull these out here. I'm alternating skeins. I learned my lesson on the red sweater. It's not much to see, but this is a sport weight V-neck pullover, and it's where you start with the back and you knit down and do some underarm shaping and, you know, sleeve hole shaping, and then you pick up and you do shaping over the shoulder and down into the V, and then you join after the V, which is right where I am at. So it is very hard to see here because it's all rolled up, but there's the back, which is where I started, and then you pick up and go over the top, and then you join the V. So I have just gotten that far done from the V. So I have to finish doing some front armhole shaping, and then I join the back to the front and start going in the round, which is exciting. It is exciting to see something take shape so much quicker. This is being knit on a size 6 US, which is a 4mm needle. And so it's sport weight on a 6, whereas that other one's DK on a 5, and it is a dense fabric. This one's gonna be a little bit more loosey-goosey. So we'll see how it fits, how I like that drape of fabric, but I'm excited for the progress that's been made since I've only worked on that for not too long. And then the last project I'm working on is Confectionery by Lisa K. Ross. I'm using One Twisted Tree Prime in the Acid Peacock colorway, along with 24 different 5-gram minis that I received in our Advent mini skein swap that I just talked about earlier. And so I think this is a great project to use. It was the recommended project that I put out there for our minis this year. And so I did the type A personality that Steve is. I did open all my packages and put them in a pleasing order and figure out how they were going to go in the scarf as best as possible. I did not swap out any minis this year, and I did have some doubles. But yeah, this is being knit on a size 4 US, which is a 3.5mm needle. This is the Acid Peacock from One Twisted Tree. I do not believe they are dyeing anymore. I do believe they had a very short dyeing career many years ago. So I've had it in my stash for almost 10 years now. And here is where we are. So I started down here. I'm doing 2 stripes a day to stay on task. I was like, oh, I'll just go in the, you know, it's got 24 different color patterns or stripes or whatever. And then I realized I had to do 2 stripes a day. So I'm going to go through all 24, and then I'm going to mirror itself back. So both ends will have these pinks, but then the center section will be what I'm moving into. You can see I did get, we did have like a warm theme. So pinks, reds, purple, not purples, you know, magentas, oranges, yellows, goldens, warm neutrals. So right here is the kind of few neutrals that I received, and I started moving those into some of the darker reds and things that I received in our swap. But I did think, of course, a cool blue was going to accent those stripes very well. So, all right, I did not finish my spinning. I am plying some Gritty Knits 60% Superwash Merino, 30% bamboo, 10% nylon, and what I'm calling the Glacial Melt colorway. I'm just doing that as a 2-ply fractal, and I am plying it, but I did not get it done or washed in time for today's episode. So I will share that with you next month. No new Andy's Lego section. He is working on some stuff. He did finish some roses. Not sure if there was anything else. If you could see behind me, he actually did finish this Christmas wreath. He was working on this garland. So that was something new. And I know he's working on Notre Dame right now. He's brought that and started with that at our trunk show in St. Louis. And that's on our dining room table as he's still got the motivation to work on it. What are we watching and reading? We did finish Gilded Age, all 3 seasons. I haven't been talking about it, but we've been kind of binging it over the past month and a half. And really sad to learn that season 4 will not be coming for quite some time, but it is really good. We enjoyed it. We had to kind of get used to it in the beginning. We're like, this seems like a very expensive and highly produced like Hallmark Channel movie, or show. And then I was like, I imagine this is kind of like what Bridgerton is, which we haven't watched Bridgerton, but we've talked, maybe we might give it a shot now. It was just really nice to have a very character-driven, talking period piece. I mean, we watched it one for the sets and the costumes. Some of it is CGI, but a lot of it's filmed in location at Gilded Age's mansions that are still standing. But yeah, just the power dynamic of the late 1800s New York as it's being built during the Gilded Age, when money and excess and power was everything and societal rules, is very interesting. So we enjoyed that. Would love to, if there was many more seasons of it. I did watch Frankenstein on Netflix. I enjoyed it. It kept me engaged. It didn't seem like it took the 2.5 hours or whatever it is, since it's a little bit longer. I knew the concept of Frankenstein. I don't think I've ever read it or watched a movie or anything like that, so I didn't really know the story. I thought they did a good job of explaining character relationships and dynamics and objectives. So I did enjoy that. I thought there was a lot of visually appealing things in the movie as well. And then, of course, I watched Wicked because it's now on streaming on something that I subscribe to. So I enjoyed that last weekend. Andy begged me not to watch it. He's like, I went and saw the musical. I've enjoyed it. That's fine. I'm good. I'm done. I said, fine, so I'll watch it by myself. So I did. I only cried twice, but it was nice to watch it again, picking up on things that I don't remember from the first time when I saw it at the theater with my friend Callie, which those of you who are longtime viewers will remember. Callie was my co-host on the Dramatic Knits podcast for many years ago. And when she was in town for the holidays last year, we went and saw the first Wicked. So, no new stash enhancement. I've been really good. I do want to quickly talk about our Patreon. If you are so interested, we do have a Patreon page where there is a $1 and $5 a month tier. All money from our Patreon is used to help maintain and rehabilitate the historic Taylor McGill building here in Clinton, Illinois, which Andy and I purchased almost 2 years ago now. As an expansion for Leading Men Fiber Arts, and it now houses our craft store, which is where I'm at right now. And it is a landmark historic building, and we would love to continue to do improvements on the building, but a small business only goes so far, and the building needs a lot of TLC. So any of you who are Patreon subscribers, we greatly appreciate it. Please share with any of your friends our Patreon page and let them know about, just $1 or $5 a month can really help. And of course you can, I think, pledge whatever you'd like. So last month, part of our Patreon is every month after I record, I put something up for auction. Usually it's one of my hand knits, or recently it's been my hand spun, which was last month. Sometimes it can be old shop samples that I haven't necessarily knit. but things, again, trying to raise funds for our efforts here. So last month I was auctioning off a skein of handspun. It was the Brujas handspun, and the winner of that was Kim, and the winning bid was $42. So thank you so much, Kim. Kim has been a longtime supporter of LMFA, and we thank you so much. It means the world to us. And this month we do have a new auction, and can you guess what it's going to be? That's right, it's going to be Stole by Theresa Gaffey. So this right here can be yours if you are interested. So if you join our Patreon, you will have access to the auction. And not only are you going to get the Stole, but you also are going to get the 9 balls of leftovers. So this is what I was left over with from the kit that I purchased. And there is definitely enough to do some sort of coordinating project or something else with to play along with. So I figured since I start off the starting bid with the cost of the yarn, and anything past that I put towards, kind-hearted people who want to see what we're doing here succeed. And so the starting bid for the Stole plus the leftover yarn is going to be $108. That is what I paid for the yarn many moons ago. I have no idea what it would cost now because, of course, everything's gone up. But 108 is the starting bid on that, and you do need to bid in full dollar amount increments with at least a $1 increase from the previous reply, and the auction will end at the end of December, and you will be invoiced from the Leading Men Fiber Arts store for your bid. All right, let's talk about things that are going on in the Leading Men Fiber Arts studio and shop. We have our new colorway of the month. I created this one. I'm super excited. And it is called Flaming Figgy Pudding. So I created this colorway and I was debating between PB&J or Figgy Pudding. And then, of course, with the time of year, I was like, let's go with Figgy Pudding. And then Anna, one of our studio assistants, goes, ooh, look, Flaming Figgy Pudding. And I said, well, you got to put flaming on there. I said, you have 2 gay guys come dyeing yarn. We got to tack a flaming adjective on there. So Flaming Figgy Pudding is our December 2025 colorway of the month. You've seen the pictures. Here it is, the actual swatch of it. And this is one of my massage speckles that I love because it gives you the different colors in there without being too busy or tending to flash or pool as much as many other variegated and speckled yarns even can. Here it is in the skein. This is on our worsted box office base. Unfortunately, the pre-order for this, we do a discounted price for the first week of each month when this comes out. That is closing today, and that will be before you see this video. So any leftovers will be at regular price on our website. I will have the all the leftovers linked in the show notes. We did pair this with our royalty colorway for the coordinating color. We had some other ones as well, but this was our main coordinating color for like socks, sets, and things like that. And then for our hat sets, we paired it with our Gypsy Dreamer Crochet Amethyst Pom-Pom. And we will have these in the shop as well. We do have some leftovers of those from the hat set. So that was our colorway of the month. And then I also brought over several new samples we received over the past couple of weeks between a test/sample knitter that we work with, designers, new patterns coming out. These are their originals, as well as our shop assistant Sue finished a new sample for us as well. So the first one I want to show you is the Witch's Brew sweater. This is by Stephanie Lotvin of Tellybean Knits, and this is knit out of our Dramaturg base in 4 different colors. We have, let me read the tag because I don't remember. Red-handed, which is the red. Midas Touch is the gold. Don't Fear the Reaper is the charcoal. And Heirloom is the off-white. or neutral color. So we have a wonderful sample knitter now in our Rolodex of talented people who we get to collaborate with. And Amanda was test knit this sweater for Stephanie, and then used our yarn and sent it back to us as a sample. So she's a very talented colorwork knitter. She did a previous sweater for us. She has a brand new cowl in the mail on the way to us, and I'll be excited to show you that next month. But yeah, I love the look of colorwork. I do not personally enjoy traditional colorwork. I don't mind mosaic, but Fair Isle is not my happy knitting. So to have somebody who's like, I love doing color work and has ideas of new things or new test knits so we can be coming out with samples that are new and relative is a great asset to have. So Amanda, I don't know if you watch this, but thank you. Your talents are so appreciated here at LMFA. All right, the next patterns that I have for you are a brand new design released by Hook Mountain Handmade. I believe her name is Jovi or Hovey. I gotta figure that out. But she actually is relocated here to Eastern Illinois, I believe, East Central Illinois. And Shayna of Shayna Lines Designs mentioned while we were at ZK this summer that we should talk to her and reach out and collaborate with her. So we have, and she came out with the Innkeeper's hat and mitts. So this is designed out of our Polworth DK base, which showcases texture so well. So she did this beautiful kind of waffle stitch or broken waffle. And so we have the hat and the mitts. These are roll down, so you can, roll these down to give your fingers a little bit more. And the hat and the mitts both just take one skein each. So if you wanted to do the set, you could just grab a skein, 2 skeins of the same color or different colors. We are doing a knit along for these right now in the Leading Men Fiber Arts Ravelry group, which I'll talk about in just a second as well. And she is working on a sweater right now, which is in test knitting, that will be coming out in January, because in January she will be visiting us here at Leading Men Fiber Arts for a designer trunk show. So she's going to be bringing her design repertoire and helping those who come in during her trunk show to find yarns and be inspired by some of her patterns. And she, I believe, is going to be releasing the sweater around the trunk show date, and we will have the sweater once the trunk show happens. So that trunk show is going to be on Saturday, January 10th, I believe, from 10 to 4, weather permitting, right? So all of us who are traveling in the Midwest in the winter, we always say weather permitting, because if it's really bad, weather's going to, one, not going to put somebody in danger to ask them to drive out here several hours to be out here, and 2, the store probably is not going to be inundated with people, especially since a lot of our clientele have to drive a bit to get to us anyway. So weather dependent, but we're super excited to be welcoming her. The last sample I want to show you was finished by our shop assistant, Sue of Prairie Bagworks. She makes project bags, and we have an array of them in our shop as well. But this is the Lollipop Park dumpling bag by Corey Eichelberger of IROC Knits. And so Corey has been releasing a new dumpling bag every month. I believe she just released month 7. She's doing a full year, 12 months. She did release this one out of her yarn, and then she just released one, I believe, last month out of our Targhee twist. And so Sue had been working on this bag. It is color work. It's got the casing with the drawstrings in there. She did use shoelaces, which she talks about in the pattern, or you could do I-cord. And the nice thing about these bags, it has a beautiful flat bottom. The nice thing about the bags is you can find these inserts on Amazon, and you can just pick out the insert and put it into another bag. So say you have, you knit multiple of these, you could just pick it up and put it into another bag. I did purchase a few extras of these, so I think I have quite a few of the cream and I got a couple of the gray. I'm gonna work on getting those in the store here soon, since we now have this out as a sample. But it just takes 2 skeins of our Dramaturg in coordinating or contrasting colors, and you yourself can make a dumpling bag. Check out her designs on Ravelry. Like I said, if you're into that, there are tons, and even a few more coming out. So, and I believe you can buy them as a bundle for a little bit cheaper. I'm not for sure of that though, so don't hold me to it. All right, don't forget Leading Men Fiber Arts here at the storefront. If you're local or you're driving in or you're traveling, we do have weekly meetups every day of the week. So on Tuesday nights, we have our Create and Collaborate Club from 6 to 8. On Wednesdays, we have Handcraft Gathering from 1 to 3. On Thursdays, we have Cross Stitchers Connections from 1 to 3. Fridays, we have Crochet Hookup from 4 to 6. And on Saturdays, when we tend to be open most Saturdays now because we put a lot of our classes on Saturdays, as well as our monthly Crafternoons. So this month in December, next Saturday, This Saturday, the 13th, is going to be our monthly Crafternoon from 1 to 4. And we have our Learn to Knit class coming up on that Saturday. If you're local, if you catch this video somehow, we have our Learn to Knit class on Saturday. If you want to learn to knit or know somebody regionally who does. And so, yeah, that's what goes on every week. Some new things going on. We also have been having CSM or circular sock machine crank-ins. We did see an interest for that with a couple of people. So we've been doing that. It's supposed to be about like every other Tuesday from 2 to 5:30. Some people are carrying over into our Tuesday night groups, which is great. They've been meeting a lot of Tuesdays in December because it's relatively new. A lot of them are learning their machines or getting interested. And because of the holidays, some people have like vacation or time off. So they've been meeting almost every Tuesday here. They're going to be meeting tomorrow, this Tuesday. Speaking of which, this coming Tuesday, tomorrow, which you probably won't even see this, but just so you know, we're starting to get great events at our store. We are welcoming back Katie and Dean of the Yarn Adventure truck to not only be here with the truck, but Katie's going to be teaching classes tomorrow. She has an embroider with yarn class in the morning and then a brioche basics in the afternoon. And then we have our sock crank machine or circular sock machine crank in the afternoon. We have our Create and Collaborate Club tomorrow night. It's going to be a jam-packed day, but we are so excited to celebrate all the things we can do here at our little store. So I think that's about it. If you're interested as well, we will be having a Learn to Crochet on January 3rd. I'm not sure of the time yet. I don't have that up on the website yet, but that is coming. All right, like I mentioned, we have the Leading Men Fiber Arts Ravelry group. If you're on Ravelry, we'd love for you to join that group. We do have a multitude of knit-alongs and make-alongs going at any given time with monthly drawings for prizes. There's coupon codes for the knit-alongs to save a little bit on yarn. And usually the prize is a gift certificate to our shop. So definitely check those out if you're interested. Like I said, we don't have any upcoming shows. YarnCom this past weekend was our last road event of the year, but we do have 2 events in January. I'll talk more about that when I record in January, but we are going to 2 brand new events in January. One is in Wisconsin, again, weather dependent, and it's a first year event, so we'll see how that goes. That's the Fiber Blitz. And then that next week, we are taking an extended drive to go down to the Sun-Kissed Fiber Festival, which is a brand new festival in the Tampa area of Florida. So our friends Laura and Kevin from Created For You by Laura are running that first year event, and a lot of our vendor friends are going down there. So we thought, we can go south in the winter, so that shouldn't be an issue. Once we get, out of our state and go down a little south, we should be not worrying about any bad weather necessarily. And then we talked, we might try to squeeze in a day at Universal because it's there and we have not been, we did not get the chance to go to Universal Studios when we visited Disney many years ago. So we talked about trying to make that happen in January on that trip. But yeah, that's what's going on. I thank you again for spending this time with me today. It means the world to me. I'd love if you'd leave me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. If you made it this far, why don't you leave me a snowflake? Because it's snowing, it's been snowing here, and we have snowflakes decorated all over our town square and things like that. So leave me a snowflake emoji if you get this far, and or leave me a full-on question or comment. I'd love to hear from you. If I don't, I hope you have the best holiday season that you can have for you, if you know what I mean. And I hope that if you get to spend time with family, that you enjoy every moment of it. I hope that if spending time with family does not put you in a great mental or emotional state, that you get to either hopefully avoid it or make the best of that situation and do what you need to do to take care of you. I don't think we often tell ourselves that enough, and it's an important motto to have for yourself. So I hope you have the warmest and the best of holiday seasons. Until I see you in 2026, I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye.